hollow frame where dreams begin. Horizons fold like paper creased. Each step forward, the ground is released. A shattered compass spins in vain. The needle dances, lost in the rain. Through tangled echoes, the truth decays. The veil of illusions masks the maze. Beyond the veil, the patterns twist. A symphony played by shadows miss. Reality fractures, the fragments fall. Unraveling threads that bind it all. Clouds of glass drift through the air, reflecting faces that were never there. A clock unwinds, its hands erased. Time unspoken, space displaced. Steps are whispers in a hall of smoke. Each breath a promise that fate revoked. The curtain trembles, the fleeting tease, revealing voids where nothing sees. Beyond the veil, the patterns twist. A symphony played by shadows miss. Reality fractures, the fragments fall. Unraveling threads that bind it all. The tide recedes, the shore is bare. Bones of the past lay scattered there. What lies beyond is a hollow tune, sung by the ghost of a dying moon. The veil collapses, the story untold. The ashes of meaning grow bitter and cold. I reach the edge, but the edge retreats, chasing the truth that no one meets. No one meets. No one meets. Beyond the veil, the patterns twist. A symphony played by shadows miss. Reality fractures, the fragments fall. Unraveling threads that bind it all. Beyond the veil, the patterns twist. A symphony played by shadows miss.
What is up, BTV Tribe? Chris and Cherie, Gio here, coming to you from Beyond the Veil. Cherie's been reading this book, and we've been talking about this kind of in passing over the last couple shows, and we really wanted to break down this book, Alien Interview, because there's a lot going on, as a matter of fact, right now. Either they're gearing up for Blue Beam, or there's something interplanetary that is happening right now here in this 3D matrix that we find ourselves in.
This book was written a year before we even got together. So it's not like this book was written, after, 2012, or it was written in 2019, or, all of these, stories came out about Elon Musk, and then him being the reincarnation of Nikola Tesla, and then and then this book came out. No, this book was published in 2008, and I'm not saying I'm a believer. What I'm saying is, as a researcher and as a librarian at heart, I think that this would put a lot of pieces of the puzzle together for me.
I agree. Let's take a quick break on that note, and on the other side, we will get into breaking down the Alien Interview. It seems like perfect timing because it's in the air.
It's in the air. It
No
really
pun
is.
intended. We'll be right back.
Beneath the endless skies, a dream undone. We chase the dawn, but it's never won. The world spins on, though we've lost the thread. In a painted maze, we're all misled. Fingers graze the edge of something thin. A fleeting breath, where shadows begin. Oh, the hollow hum of this endless game, where the roads are empty, yet we walk the The winds howl secrets through fractured glass. The clock's hands blur as the moments pass. Each echo stirs like a faded song, a place we thought we knew, but it's all wrong. Yet the silence swells, a beckoning call, a void where shadows stretch and fall. Oh, the hollow hum of this endless game, where the roads are empty, yet we walk the same. A silent crash, no one speaks our name. Through the loop we falter, but none feel blame. Still the night will fade, though we're left behind. The stars will burn, but the light's confined. In this fractured dance we learn to face the endless spiral, the final grace. We drift like stardust through a darkened sea, chasing nebulae that will never be. Galaxies spin, but we're stuck in place, worn out comets lost in endless space. The universe hums a song of dust, our voices swallowed by a cosmic rust. A supernova fades before our eyes, in the void we vanish, no goodbyes. A hollow hum of this endless game, where the roads are empty, yet we walk the same. A silent crash, no one speaks our name. Through the loop we falter, but none feel blame.
All right, let's jump back into it. I want to address a quick comment in the chat. Trump was on a podcast and he kept saying it was like we just let Elon out. He's out and now he's out.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting. I've got to go back and listen to that. I was listening to a few clips and we listened to some of it as we were driving, but we weren't driving that far. And so we didn't listen to the whole thing. But he was talking a lot about disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, depending on how you look at it, it's either sus or it's not.
Well, yeah, it's either,
there's no other way to
it's
say
either
it.
blue beam or it's true. The world is about to change radically. Either the world's about to change radically in a direction of everyone is about to see the biggest attempted FU that the world has ever seen, or the world is about to change radically.
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty much.
There was something else in the chat. Oh, Ken said that he's seen 12 major sightings.
Oh,
Yeah.
lucky.
I know.
You know?
I'm always looking at the sky.
I
want to believe. I want to believe.
Well, I went to New Fork. That's the website NUFORC, and it looks like it's just covered in red, where you see old sightings dating back to like the 60s, 70s, 80s. Well, about the 80s. Usually, it's about the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s and 2010s, and then all the ones from like 2024 are in green. And there's a lot of green there. There is a lot of green. And even as late as a few days ago.
In Tyler?
Even in Tyler, yeah.
Oh, I thought that's what you were talking about.
Everywhere.
When
I
we-
mean, there's everywhere.
When we first met, we met David Icke, and we were hanging out with him, and David said, "Oh, you're from Tyler. It's very green there, mate."
Uh-huh.
And that's always stuck out.
That always stuck with
And I
us.
never understood what he was talking about. If it's very green, or if
Little
it's
green
like
men.
little green men, or
I think he was talking about little green men.
reptilians, or what? I really don't know.
Well, I think he was talking about little green men and the connection to the artificial intelligence, but that's a subject for another.
It's a whole nother story.
That's a
People
whole
are
nother
sharing their
show.
experiences in the chat. Diana was talking about how she saw an orb come down 4 feet away from her.
Ooh, that's
And
cool.
that is the repeating theme in Congress, these orbs.
Orbs,
So
especially orange ones.
when you think about drone technology, they could very well be drone technology, but from somewhere else.
Yeah, I've never heard of orange drones, like orange spherical.
Oh, no,
drones.
they come in all different shapes and sizes and colors and stuff like that. Do you remember it was October 10th, 2010? It was 10-10-10. And we were on with a couple of people, and we were doing kind of a War of the Worlds type of thing. Because there was a prophecy by this general saying that on 10-10-10, there was going to be a big UFO display in New York. And we got our friend Chris Cowan to call, and he called in, and he's like, "Hey, dude, there's, actual UFOs right now. It's flying by the Statue of Liberty, etc." And we were like, "Oh, dude, this is gold." And he's like, "No.
No, there really
this isn't part of the show.
This isn't
He's
part
like,
of the show.
This is really
This
happening."
is
And mainstream
for real.
media started covering it. And it was all orbs that were just zipping all through New York City on that day.
I remember that. Now that you refresh my memory, now I remember that. That's it does seem like wherever we go, there's always UFOs around us, but we never see them. They're just there. And it's interesting that the choice of words or thoughts, because in this book, Alien Interview, it's all done telepathically. All of the communication is done telepathically. She even says, we're here to observe. We're here for repeated observations. That's what we're here for. We're just observing. Periodic observations. And it's because of your nuclear warfare. It's because of what you're doing with nuclear technology, because it's dangerous. And I think it stands to reason that if the world is headed in the direction of World War III, that would explain the uptick in UFO sightings, 100%. And blue beam could be a red herring, actually, to cover up that fact. What do you think?
I think
It's just blue beam.
I don't know what to think.
Like, it's just blue beam.
I have
Everyone
to
go back
think-
to sleep.
I have to think multidimensionally when it comes to this.
Well, yeah, you
That's
have
the
to.
best thing that I can do. Yeah. So let's jump into this. In the summer of 1949, Matilda O'Donnell,
1947.
1947.
Yeah.
Matilda O'Donnell MacElroy was a nurse stationed at Roswell Army Field when a mysterious crash occurred in New Mexico desert. The military recovered debris, unlike anything ever seen before, metal that couldn't be bent, and strange, unidentifiable markings. Among the wreckage, they found something even more shocking, a small living alien being. And this is a story, of course, of Jesse Marcel and Roswell and the whole crash there.
This was a
Now,
nurse. Yeah.
It was supposedly a nurse that wrote this book, or
She supplied the material.
She supplied the material for the book. That's the best way to put it. The book was published as fiction. So that's something
Taken with a grain
to
of salt.
consider.
Yeah.
But the information in the book, at first, Cherie was telling me, and I was like, it's a fictional book.
Right.
But then again, I remember seeing a movie called Roswell, and it was like a low budget HBO movie. And I watched it several times, and it goes into a lot of this. It goes into the alien part, and it's the story of Jesse Marcel trying to go back. He goes back to a reunion, and he's trying to find out what happened on that day. And then this man in black kind of shows up and he's like, what if I told you that there was aliens? What if I told you a body was recovered? What if I told you this? What if I told you that? How would that change your life now?
Right.
And that was the moral of the story.
Right.
That was a work of fiction too, but there was a lot of, in my opinion, truth in there too.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, I'm not a believer, but I do think that it's very interesting, and it also lines up with a lot of what I have in my research and my research timelines that I have with what I know to be true. And so I'll just dive into this. With it being refused to interact with anyone except for this nurse, chosen seemingly at random, she was assigned to communicate with it, and she telepathically spoke to her and basically said, I feel like you are safe to talk to. And I want to communicate just with you. And so this is the start of this interview that she had with this being. Are you injured? No. What medical assistance do you require? None. Do you need food or water or other sustenance? No. Do you have any special environmental needs, such as air temperature, atmospheric chemical content, air pressure, or waste elimination? No, I am not a biological being. Does your body or spacecraft carry any germs or contamination that may be harmful to humans or other Earth life forms? No, no germs in space. Does your government know you are here? Not at this time. Are others of your kind going to come looking for you? Yes. What is the weapons capability of your people? Very destructive. I did not understand the exact nature of the kind of arms or weapons that they might have, but I did not feel that there was any malevolent intention in her reply. This was just a statement of fact. Why did your space...
That's interesting she made that note, because as I was listening to it, that's kind of what I felt too.
Yeah.
Because a higher dimensional being or interdimensional being or even a more evolved being would be more matter of fact.
Yes, exactly. Why did your spacecraft crash? It was struck by an electrical discharge from the atmosphere which caused us to lose control. Why was your spacecraft in this area? Investigation of burning clouds / radiation / explosions. How does your spacecraft fly? It is controlled through mind, responds to thought commands. How do your people communicate with each other? Through mind / thought. The words mind and thought combined together are the closest English language words I can think of to describe the idea at this time. However, it was very obvious to me that they communicate directly from the mind, just as she is communicating with me. Do you have a written language or symbols for communication? Yes. What planet are you from? Answer, the home / birthplace world of the domain. Will your government send representatives to meet with our leaders? No. What are your intentions concerning Earth? Preserve / protect property of the domain. That's interesting. What have you learned about Earth?
Wait, say that again?
What are your intentions concerning Earth? Preserve and protect property of the domain. They consider Earth the property of the domain. Yeah, and I thought that was... And she explains this later. But what have you learned about Earth governments and military installations? Answer, poor / small, destroy planet. She wasn't talking about her people destroying the planet. She was talking about our military. They're poor. They have poor minds. They have small minds, and they're going to destroy the planet with what they're doing. Why haven't your people made your existence known to the people of Earth? Answer, watch / observe, no contact. Have your people visited Earth previously? Answer, periodic / repeating observations. How long have you known about Earth? Answer, long before humans. Question, what do you know about the history of civilization on Earth? Answer, small interest / attention, small time. We don't have very much interest in it. Question, can you describe your homeworld to us? Answer, place of civilization / culture / history, large planet, wealth / resources, always, order, power, knowledge/wisdom. 2 stars, 3 moons.
I give it 2 stars.
2 stars on Yelp.
Earth only gets 1.
Yeah. No, Earth gets a half a star. What is the state of development of your civilization? Answer, ancient. Trillions of years. Always. Above all others.
Trillions of years. That's an interesting answer because that is way older than what our physicists and scientists acknowledge the universe itself, not just Earth, but the universe itself.
The universe, they say, is what? 14 billion? 13 billion,
yeah.
14 billion. Yeah. Trillions of years. Always. Above all others. Plan. Schedule. Progress. Win. High goals/ideas.
I don't get it. You got to explain it.
So, what is
I do get it, but I'm just saying for the benefit of people that don't.
What is the state of development of your civilization? It's ancient. It's been in existence for much, much longer than we even conceive the universe to be old. And they think that they believe themselves to be above all other civilizations. They are planners. They want progress above anything else. They want to see the entire universe progress. They don't want death and destruction. They want to progress. They want everyone to progress. And
well, it's still interesting though that they still adhere to a hierarchy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If they see themselves above.
Right. They do have a hierarchy, and they even have a hierarchy within themselves, as she explains later. But they have high goals and ideas. It's not that they're not conquerors. They are planners. And they're like urban planners, except with military capability. Do you believe in God? Answer, we think. It is. Make it continue. Always.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's so funny because people are talking about Trump and World War III in the chat. And in the last chat where we were talking about Trump and World War III, people were talking about UFOs and extraterrestrials and stuff.
You guys just can't, we can't seem to.
No. I think it's great to be, people should talk about whatever they want, but I find it funny.
I think it's so funny too, because
okay, but go ahead. No, let's stay on topic.
That's such an interesting answer to that question. Do you believe in God? We think. Period. We think. Period. It is. Period. Make it continue. Period. Always. Period. In other words, God is just, it is. It's like the creator of all. You know, the Anunnaki in the Lost Book of Enki and the works of Zecharia Sitchin, he talks about the creator of all. And the Anunnaki even believe in a creator of all. And it's not that there's a creator of all, a big man in overlooking the whole universe. It's not like that. It's within.
I think it can be summed up as natural law.
And it's within
natural order.
Right. It's within all beings, all living beings. And it says make it continue always. It always exists. You can't kill it. It's not something that can be killed. It's something that will always continue no matter what, period. What type of society do you have? Answer, order, power, future always, control, grow. And once again, this is not a conquering species. This is a growing species. This is a planning species. This is a species that, is always looking towards the future and planning out and scheduling things and rearranging things so that life can exist better.
They're kind of like Vogons.
Not like
Very
Vogons.
bureaucratic.
No, they don't.
No. You know what's interesting though?
Do that.
Is that this species here, according to this book, they're one of the oldest species to exist and still continue to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they still have very destructive capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of puts things into perspective about the Bill Cooper thing we were talking about earlier and how those humanoid aliens supposedly came down and said, okay, we're going to teach you all this, but you have to disarm yourselves first. Maybe
Right.
we, the human species, were right to not disarm ourselves, because if one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy, in the universe, it still has destructive capabilities, well, then I think that tells you something about how the universe runs.
Well, and it's kind of like, if a 2-year-old with a gun versus a 20-year-old with a gun, you want to take the gun away from a 2-year-old, of course. That 2-year-old does not need a gun because number one, it's their minds are not capable of understanding what could happen with that gun. And number two, it's irresponsible. You as the adult, need to take control of the situation and take it out of their hands.
That's a way to look at it.
And I think
because you could teach a kid from maybe not 5 years old, but at least 10 years old about firearm safety, and they'll grow up to be a very responsible gun owner.
right.
Likewise, a species that has discovered atomic energy, forget about nuclear. That's people. There's controversy around that. Atomic, you can't deny, but you discover atomic energy, and somebody has to step in and say, "Ho, wait a minute, kids. Let's take the matches away and teach you how to actually use them."
Right. Let's teach you how to. Well, first, let's broaden your consciousness and teach you how to respect life. Then maybe you're ready for this type of energy, and maybe you're ready for this type of technology. Unless the consciousness is expanded enough to understand and respect life on a very basic level, that is not doable. I think that's the point, that the ETs, regardless of whether they were humanoid or gray or reptilian, it doesn't matter to me. I agree with them. I think that the consciousness of humanity in 1945, 1947 was not anywhere near ready. On the heels of what happened in World War II, with that regime over in Europe, I'm not even going to mention the name, but that proved to us that the collective consciousness of humanity was not ready for that type of technology, not by a long shot. And there were other ways to end World War II. Sorry, there were other ways.
I don't think we're ever going to be ready for that until we at least be able to define woman. I mean, I'm serious. Like, I know it's a joke, and I know that it's kind of funny, but it's not funny at the same time. It's not funny
at the same time.
Because we've digressed so much.
We disrespect life so much. We disrespect life, and we disrespect each other and sovereignty. And
after 2020?
Yeah. That 2020 was an IQ test. And it was really an emotional IQ test. And it was an empathy IQ test. And it was a test of our ability to leave each other alone. And I'm not saying we as in us or the tribe, but as a species, we proved once again that we're still not ready. And that was very disheartening to me, that we're still not there. We're still...
Yeah, and we're moving backwards, so...
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's...
Again, whenever I hear something, I think the opposite. Yeah. Because I want to see it from the opposite perspective first before I draw any conclusions.
And I'm reading this, as I'm reading this book, I'm the ultimate skeptic when it comes to UFOs and...
Oh, yeah, I know. When we were doing the UFO stuff, you were like, this is kooky. Let's talk about some other stuff.
Yep, you know me. Yeah. When it comes to anything regarding demons or aliens, I'm the ultimate skeptic. But this book lined up so remarkably well with my timeline information, with all my research that I've done over the past 20 years, that I had to keep going, because I was like, wow, this is really thought-provoking. So it says, are there other intelligent life forms besides yourself in the universe? Answer: everywhere. We are greatest / highest of all. Well, of course, and everybody everybody's like, go
I'm
team.
the greatest species.
Yeah.
Nobody knows species like I do.
I was just about to
Believe
say,
me.
everybody wants to think that their team is the greatest, like everybody is
We are
like,
the best.
go team. So, but that,
Hey, that's a good attitude to have, though.
it is a good attitude to have, everybody should be rooting for their own team.
Yeah,
but,
I remember during 2020, people were ragging on him because he wouldn't come out and go, "Oh my God, the sky is falling. We don't know what to do." He'd come out again. You know what? It's
We've got this
fine.
under
We got this under
control.
control. And people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's not freaking out."
Well,
It's
why
like,
would he?
why
be
would
freaking-
he?
Yeah. Do you really want to see the president freaking out?
Right.
Really? So moving on to chapter 2, eventually a new list of questions was written for me to ask the alien. I have gathered that quite a few other agents, government and military officials had arrived at the base by this time. They told me that several other people would be in the room with me during the next interview, so they could prompt me to ask for more details during the interview. However, when I attempted to conduct the interview with these people in the room, I received no thoughts, emotions, or any other perceptible communication from her.
So she just shut down.
Yeah, nothing. The alien just sat in the chair without moving. We all left the interview room. The intelligence agent became very agitated about this. He accused me of lying or making up the answers to the first questions. I insisted that my answers were honest and as accurate as I could make them. Over the next several days, a psychic research scientist from back east was flown into the base to interview the alien. Her name was Gertrude something or other.
You're going a little fast.
Oh, I'm sorry. On another occasion, an Indian clairvoyant named Krishnamurti came to the base to try to communicate with the alien. Neither one was successful at getting the alien to communicate anything. Finally, it was decided that I should be left with the alien by myself to see if I could get any answers. Question: why have you stopped communicating? Answer: no stop. Others: hidden/covered. Secret fear. The alien cannot communicate with them because they were afraid of her or do not trust her. And it is clear to me that the alien is very aware that some people have secret intentions toward her and are hiding their real thoughts. It is equally obvious to me that the alien does not have even a tiny bit of fear of us, or anything else for that matter. So, in other words, she was basically no bullshit. Like, I don't want to communicate with anyone that has any ill intentions toward my species or towards me, or intentions that they're not divulging. If you have any bullshit that you're hiding, I don't want to talk to you. If you're part of the same people that are, blowing things up right now,
but
I don't want to talk to you either.
If they're here and they're abducting people and they're going to show themselves, or whatever the case may be, whether they're hostile or not, they had secret intentions that they were covering up too.
Right.
So
but
screw them.
Are they the same? Are they the same species that are abducting people, though?
No, I've never heard the Greys go, we're the best, we're the oldest.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we might be talking about two different species.
Maybe, but the way they travel, maybe not.
Exactly.
So that's something we're going to get into here in a minute.
It said, I pondered the words I chose to convey the meaning of the alien's thoughts very carefully before reporting to the stenographer and the people who were waiting anxiously in the other room. Personally, I never suffered any fear or misapprehension about the alien whatsoever. I was very, very curious and excited to learn anything and everything I could about her and from her. However, like the alien, I did not have much trust or confidence in the agents or authorities who were controlling my interviews. I had no idea what their intentions toward her might be. However, I'm sure that the military officers were very, very excited about having an alien spacecraft and pilot on their hands. Matilda's first real conversation. So Matilda begins her first structured communication session with the alien, referred to later as Irel. Irel is her name.
Now,
which is interesting because it starts with AI.
Oh, that's interesting.
Go ahead.
According to the mainstream conspiracy, if there is such a thing, his name was his most highest omnipotent Krill or something like that. And that's what he wanted to be.
Krill.
Well, we decided we're just going to call you Krill. We're not going to call you your highest omnipotent, blah, 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 all the titles in front of it.
Yeah.
So it's a little diversion from the mainstream Roswell
For the mainstream
information.
that
And it was a male rather than a female. Well,
and that could be
krill, however you want to take it, but that sounds more masculine than this.
that does sound more masculine, and that could be a cooked up story.
Yeah.
After the fact, because what happens later on in the book, it would make sense that they cooked up a story to cover up all this. So the alien introduces itself with the name Irl, explaining that it is not a biological being in the way humans understand. Irl refers to itself as an is-be, meaning an immortal spiritual being that is and will always be. So that's why she calls everyone an is-be. Everyone that lives is an is-be because they are and they will always be. Emphasizing that all conscious entities are essentially eternal. Irl briefly explains that the crash occurred due to a lightning strike. So we already talked about this. In her second encounter with the alien, her role became clear. She was not just a nurse. She was the bridge between humanity and a being from beyond our understanding. She began communicating with Irl exclusively through telepathy. Unlike spoken words, the messages felt instantaneous, like thoughts directly implanted into her mind. Irl introduced itself simply. It wasn't explained its role as a pilot and officer for an advanced civilization it called the Domain. This interstellar organization spans galaxies and dimensions. So, like you said, interdimensional as well. It spans galaxies and dimensions, operating on a scale that humans can barely imagine. When asked about the crash, the answer was straightforward. Its spacecraft had been struck by lightning. The resulting malfunction caused it to crash in the New Mexico desert.
Okay, let me stop that for a moment because now it sounds like BS to me. The reason it sounds like BS is you're telling me that there's trillions upon trillions of year-old species and their craft can get hit by lightning and crash. I would imagine that their craft would be able to absorb the lightning and use it as some kind of energy.
The reason why is, and this it explains it this way.
Chemtrails.
They didn't have chemtrails yet. Is because their body, and this explains why the grays look so weird. Their body isn't a real body. The body is a robot body, and it's like a doll's body. And what they're doing is it's almost like through Bluetooth, where their consciousness is relaying into that doll body, but their real body is actually still in another place entirely, in another dimension or in another galaxy somewhere. And it's
the best
just
galaxy.
It's just
Sorry,
relaying.
I keep thinking like a whole planet of Trumps.
It's just relaying back to the doll body. And so that way they stay safe no matter where they are. And that doll body is also connected to the ship. And so that's why their thoughts control the ship.
We'll have a better analogy for you. Remember the movie Avatar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's a great.
You transfer your consciousness into one of the bodies,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go run around. Your body stays in stasis at your home base, and you can travel through the universe like that, which
Right.
would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more sense than physically moving a body from one part of the universe to another.
Oh, hell yeah, it does. Hell yeah, it does.
That's an interesting spin.
Yes, it is. And that made a lot more sense to me than these beings, having hearts and
I'm sorry. The chat is making me laugh out loud.
being biological beings that, can actually die, and, them traveling all that distance, in biological form. That never made sense to me. Like that seems evolutionarily impossible, that you would be able to create a body that could withstand interstellar travel. What are you laughing about?
Gary in the chat. He said, the Greys are a product of future humans after they've gone completely transgender and woke. We have to fight the alien agenda. Oh my God. I pictured this whole scenario and playing out in my head. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but it's hilarious.
That is funny.
Yeah. Maybe it's not the gay agenda. Maybe it's the gray agenda.
Yep.
We're just missing the R because there's always the lisp. Oh my God, I'm terrible. All right. I won't interrupt anymore. Please take us away, Mrs. Gio. I'll mute my microphone.
Why don't we, do you want to take a break or something so we can get back?
No, go ahead. I mean, I can if you want me to, if you want me to regather your thoughts. Okay.
Well, the fact that they don't have any reproductive organs.
Here, I'll play one more track real quick.
Okay.
We'll be right back. All right.
The air hums low, a weightless thread, a whispering tether to what lies ahead. Eyes closed, yet the world unravels, a path untrodden where silence travels.